Welcome back to the Chatooine Show, everyone, the best and brightest podcast in the galaxy, filled with the wretched hive of scum and villainy. We're here every Wednesday nights talking about all things Star Wars, and tonight we review the new live-action Star Wars series, Skeleton Crew, that dropped its first two episodes on December 2nd, this Monday. I'm Star Wars Only. I'm joined with my co-host Lunga and Palpamemes. If you're watching this live, listening to it later, leave us a like to help us out. And if you're new here, subscribe to the channel for future episodes of the show, and you can follow us on all the social media channels in the description below. But if you really enjoy this nonsense of a show, you can become a channel member, or leave us a super chat during the show, and we'll answer any questions that you may have. Lunga, you're deceased.
I'm dead.
He is dead.
I am. I feel like so much ass right now, guys. It's bad. It's bad. I am sick as a dog. I shouldn't even be here. But you know, I know these fuckers couldn't get anything done without me. So
I'm not about to
struggling
base cam
through it.
The commitment.
Listen, you don't want to see mine right now. My cam is on 99.9% of the time. You don't want my cam on right now.
And y'all have never seen mine. It all works out so well. So gentlemen, Skeleton Crew just dropped, and it was a banger, questionably.
Oh, jeez. I mean, already, bro? Dude, we're not even a minute and a half in.
It's a banger. No, I'm playing.
Can we discuss this before we say that?
Okay, fine. I will say after two episodes, I will hold my reservation for calling it a certified banger, which is trademarked on Chatooine. Like Lunga said, we brought that back into the lexicon of the culture. And, you know, Star Wars Only's back too, so it seems like Chatooine's doing something right here. But Skeleton
Here we go
Crew
again. Here we go again.
The other day. What do you want me to say, Lunga? I have returned. I am the chosen one. Someone's got to do it.
Motherfucker.
And I'm here to do it.
I for someone who's been gone, you're annoys the fuck out of me every fucking week. That's all I know.
I had to practice on somebody, right? I mean, the Chatooine audience has not had a break from Only, and Only is here forever again. And it looks like Skeleton Crew might be here for a good little while. The 2-episode premiere happened on December 2nd. It was like at 9 p.m. my time, I think 6 Pacific time, which is funny because it's supposed to be for a kid's show, and it sounds a little late to me, but hey, what do I know? I'm not the geniuses over there at Disney. But the audience review...
Asa, we were also told that Golden will be here, so your guess is as good as ours. So
we were told until like 3 o'clock this afternoon that Golden would be here.
Yeah, it was a last minute change of plans, but it's all good. We don't have four cast members here like Skeleton Crew did, but we have 3. The ones that matter. All right, we're here.
The power of 3, power of many.
Not the power of many, thankfully, but the power of 3. We have 4. We have the power of many, I think, at that point.
It's Wizard.
It is Wizard. That was also a reference. So, take us to Monday night. Lunga, I know you didn't watch it immediately on Monday night, but what was your initial reaction to these first 2 episodes of the Skeleton Crew series?
Yeah, immediately when it started, the opening, not the kids, and it was big Star Wars vibes. You could see it was just an homage, you know, to A New Hope. The way they did that opening sequence for that, just in a little different way. We realize now that Jad Nanawood is actually also someone else. Pretty sure that's him. We know that's he's credited as being that guy. His voice was obviously him. What was his name? Is Vitrol something?
Captain something. I have no idea.
Yeah. It was a fake name, obviously. It has a mask on. That you know, it's not very reminiscent of Leia's mask in the Return of the Jedi when she was undercover. That's what I got the feels for that. But yeah, so the beginning was very it meant to hit your feels with Star Wars, right? Original trilogy Star Wars, and they did it well. I thought that it worked out okay. You know, then we got into the kids, and I will say, yeah, immediately, not Goonies, dude. E.T. E.T. is the vibe I got. That's the vibe I got. The city street, the pan over, that's what it reminds me of is E.T. And the way these kids were like us as kids playing with these toys, you know. It was just it was nice. It was nice. And again, like I said, I had to wait until I see it, and I don't hate kids, guys. But people say, "Oh, you can't say anything about these kids." Listen, the 4 kids that play this cast, each and every one of them are leaps and bounds in acting over the girl they got to play young Osha and May. They just are. And yes,
And
direction
Jake Lloyd.
matters. And Jake Lloyd, they are so good. These are the natural kids you saw in, again, 80s sitcoms. You know what I mean? That just, though it all became child stars and then their lives got destroyed as they grew up. But they're naturals. They're naturals. Every single last one of them. Neil obviously is only voice acting. I mean, I'm assuming they did him with he probably wears the suit like they do in video games. So he's probably there on set. He's just wearing the motion capture suit. But and I love Neil, like I knew I was going to. Neil was great. But again, I like all the kids were cool. I liked the little attitudes. I liked the acting. I liked what was going on with it. So it was good. And then, we'll get into this more when we start talking about the planet and other stuff. But it's I started to like my complaint about, oh, well, this is why does it look like Earth? It doesn't make any sense. It is not Star Wars. Well, the narrative we're getting when it comes to this planet, it might make sense why they look different than everybody else. So that actually, okay, you're giving me a narrative reason why it looks this way. That is good writing.
Palpamemes, what about you? What was your initial reaction to this double episode premiere the other night?
No audio, buddy. I'm not getting any audio from you. Do you hear him? Only.
I thought I was tripping, but no, Palpamemes,
No,
I can't hear.
we don't hear you.
Hey.
There you go. There you go.
I muted the thing on the OBS. Anyway.
Yeah, just give me more shit to edit. That's fine.
So, with this show, I didn't watch it Monday, and that leads me to my point of I expected nothing with this show, and I got something with this show. So because of that, I was actually pleasantly surprised. I thought the acting was pretty decent, especially for the kids and stuff. I like Jude Law, whatever the guy's name is. I think he's interesting. I still hate the way the Disney Plus shows look, or aside. I hate the way the volume looks in this. I hate the way a lot of the sets are. They look very plasticky. And it kind of takes me back a little bit. And even a lot of the alien costumes, just you could tell the budget was kind of hurting them, or whatever the case would be. That said, that's not the most important part about a show. It's just something that I picked up on because I saw a lot of people talking about how great the show looks, and I'm watched it and I was like, it looks about the same as Acolyte to me, honestly. Maybe a little bit better in certain aspects, but overall, I'm intrigued. I think it's pretty neat. I like the stuff in space, though. I will say that when it comes to looks, the space stuff looked good. The first 2 episodes, I will be honest, though, they did drag on a lot. Like not a whole lot happened for the course of an hour and a half, it was like an hour. Yeah, about like an hour and 10 or something like that. However long these 2 episodes were combined, I kind of wanted a little bit more to happen, but I get it. They have to set it up for the rest of the 6 episodes and all that. But considering I had no expectations and I came out of it like, oh, it wasn't that bad. I'm pretty excited for next week and the following weeks.
And I will say that for once they were doing that first episode. I mean, I get that it felt like it dragged, but it was complete character development for all 4 of the kids. So
no, I totally understand it. Yeah. It makes sense.
I disagree. I think on a lot of your, especially the visuals. I actually I think you picked up on, even with the trailers, I thought it looked fine. And honestly, I really did not have a lot of high expectations for the show. So I think when you expect the Acolyte level of quality, it's very pleasant surprise to see something like Skeleton Crew bring quality content to Star Wars. And that's what I think the show is. I don't think it's perfect, but I don't think it's bad either. I honestly came away with like little to no complaints from the first 2 episodes. These 2 episodes gave us all the context that we need for the future of the stories. These kids come from a planet that is not only beautiful, but it's a peaceful place where you can have a normal family life. And there's clearly something else at work that I'm sure we're gonna cover in one of the topics coming up.
Yeah, but and a lot of parallels with Luke Skywalker. He's from
a little bit
with everything. So many
Can I
stuff, There's that typical comfort feeling of home that's like broken at the beginning of this series, and that's very typical 80s coming of age story about kids, and that works for the show. And Palpatine's, I do disagree. I
Can
think
I-
the visuals are stunning. Hey, let me finish my take, motherfuckers. Y'all get y'all's uninterrupted time. I get mine. All right. I think the visuals in this are stunning. Every set and location, it looks real. It looks like a galaxy far, far away, and it looks lived in. These kids' houses look like places that people actually live in, families live in. Wim's room looks real. The dialogue and the dynamics of these characters and the relationships feel real. Wim and Neil pretending to play Jedi while the other kids are watching them. That feels authentic. But at the end of the day, what I enjoy most about the show is that it's very charming. It's simple. It's a fun watch, and it immerses you in another world that you go on an adventure with these 5 characters, including Jude Law's character. At the end of the day, that's a big part of what Star Wars is. And I think this show brings a great level of quality to Star Wars that really does stand out compared to a lot of the other live action shows that we've gotten. It's a great introduction to the series, and I'm curious as to where they're going to take the story from here. Y'all can go.
Yeah, I'll say something real quick. 2 things. I will say there were a lot of things in the visuals that I thought did look really good. I noticed that when it comes to, I don't know how to describe this because I never really worked in production, but when it comes to like close-up shots, so like close quarters areas, for instance, inside that main ship, looks really good. Inside whatever his name's room looks really good. But anytime they were in an area that was very expansive, very big, like outside of the school and all that, I thought that looked kind of trashy. Kind of reminded me of the 05 prequels when you'd see the big long shots of Coruscant. And it's like, But another thing I wanted to point out is like we talked about like the flow and stuff of this. This show already feels different from all the other Star Wars shows because I feel like the show feels more like a TV show that's set in Star Wars, whereas all the other shows, maybe excluding Mandalorian season 1, all the other ones felt like Star Wars becoming a show, and I think it works a lot better in this format where it's just a TV show format, just in Star Wars, and that's something that I've picked up on so far. Maybe that'll change or adjust, but I think it's definitely a good change, especially compared to something like the freaking Acolyte. You know, it's a nice change to have that.
I agree. I think the idea of storytelling in Star Wars should be the approach that, like you just talked about, of this is a show set in the Star Wars universe, which basically means this is a unique story that happens to be in the Star Wars universe. Same like Andor. Andor is a very good character-driven story that is set in Star Wars, whereas like the Acolyte is trying to tell its own little Star Wars tale and everything like that, and their interpretation of Star Wars and everything.
Well,
so
and
I think they nailed it. The look and the feel of Star Wars.
Well, I think again, here's the difference. Like, you know, they've talked about what they're trying to they talked about that ET feel, that 80s feel, you know, like the Stranger Things. That's what they're trying to capture with this. And that is a significant difference in leadership for this show and for leadership for something like The Acolyte. They're not going for a feel in The Acolyte. They're going for a story they want to tell based off of their idea of canon. Okay. And it's not about a feel. It's not about recapturing those moments. I mean, maybe for some prequel fans, you know what I mean? But even that, you know, it shat on the prequel fans. So, you know, it wasn't going to trying to capture a feel. It was going to, oh, this is the story I want to tell, and this is what it's going to be, like it or not. Whereas this, they're going for a feel. Yes, there's a story behind all of it, but the first thing they want to do, and I think they established it well in this first episode, was
I think that 80s feeling that they're going for is working too. I think the almost very obvious homages to other shows and categories and stuff like that, or even Star Wars, like you talked about at the beginning, that opening shot of like the planet in the background, and you see the ship kind of cut across it, and then the shadow comes over, and then like out of the left corner you see the other ship like put spikes into it and everything. That was really good, honestly. It didn't look bad at all to me. I thought it was like a opening that you would see in a Star Wars movie. Truly,
I like how they jumped out in jump packs and blew up the cannons. That was cool.
I thought that was kind of unique too. I was like, okay, I understand the idea of, you know, you have space and you're going to keep utilizing ways to attack other people or defend yourselves with this technology and everything. All this checks out with me. None of the concept that we saw in the first 2 episodes really made me go, you know, like sigh, cringe, or get like upset or annoyed. Like that's my big takeaway with this show, is that while maybe I'm not as satisfied with it as I was watching the first 2 episodes of The Mandalorian or something like that, or even with Andor, it's
a different kind of feel. It's a different adventure.
It's a completely different feel, and it's a good feel because I am coming away saying I don't really have any complaints. Palpatine, you talked about how this felt like it dragged on. At the end of episode 1, I definitely went, huh, okay, how are they going to end this? Because this has felt like it's gone on for a second. Episode 2, though, I was like, you cut this one a little too short. So I'm not really upset.
That
at the
there's
time
there's that
they
there's
had.
that Disney Plus coming back only.
Yeah. That's
Disney Plus, man.
They could have did 9
Yeah.
episodes. I mean, we'll see maybe more when there's other episodes, but that you could have taken some from 1, put it into 2, and split all of them up into 3. And even though I want longer episodes, this one's that kind of works to have short episodes. You could have split those 2 episodes into 3 episodes.
They could have, and I'm
I
really
think-
glad they didn't.
I think that's where my problem comes into is it felt like it was very unbalanced with these first 2 episodes when it comes to the flow, right? I agree with you. The second episode was too short, and I would say you could have, if you had to do it this way, you could have shaved off some of the first episode and just, if you needed that specific timeline. But again, this is just Disney Plus 101. This is just how it is.
Well,
I feel like
And it
every single...
constantly
No, I was
gives you
gonna
that
say, like-
feeling that these are movies split up into episodes, right? Because I mean, you could see this
not necessarily with
movie
this one.
format
That's how most Disney Plus Star Wars shows have been
Yeah,
for me.
this is different.
Not
This is
necessarily this
different.
one. Again, maybe like Mandalorian, definitely Andor set aside, like Acolyte, definitely Kenobi, Bob's Feet, whatever the hell that show was called. Those all kind of felt like that, you know. Whereas this is just a consequence of Disney Plusing. I think was it Goldman that said last week he just wishes this show was made on Max or like a different platform or something. Someone said that.
Yeah, HBO or something.
And I
like
agree. It'd
where
be
you
so
actually
nice
get
if like
the
Netflix could
hour-long.
make Star Wars shows because
Well, here's the problem.
we
Warner
know their
Brothers doesn't
format.
own Warner Brothers doesn't own Star Wars. Disney does.
Yeah.
So
well, that needs to change. I don't want Warner Brothers to own Star Wars because they're arguably as bad, if not worse, than Disney. But you know, a change.
listen, man.
I'm happy with
They
HBO Max
there are
and
plenty
everything.
of things Warner Brothers is bad about. Yes, but their content on HBO, they're
Is it
at a
slack?
good 75, 80%.
Oh, they did
clip.
Penguin, didn't
man.
they? Yeah.
Yeah.
They did Penguin, they did Game
Oh.
of Thrones, House of Dragon, they did Sopranos. I mean, they have a long history. HBO Boxing, oh my God, when that
They're
was
doing
a
is
thing,
doing prophecy
in heaven.
now.
Yeah, I
it's,
mean,
yeah.
the Disney Plus model is a problem for sure, and you see that in Star Wars and everything. I think there's a lot more to that issue, and I honestly think that would be a good episode for us to talk about after Skeleton Crew ends, is the Disney Plus model and how it's affected Star Wars and these shows and everything. But with these 2 episodes, the flow of it, I really didn't have an issue with. Like the first one was clear in what it was trying to do. You're trying to give us the context of what these kids are going to end up missing. You're showing us their home planet, their daily routine, their lives, their family, their friends, what they have going on, and getting us comfortable in that world with them. Then you change it up. So with these kids, I mean, it was a big topic of discussion for us last week and just leading up into the show in general of how is this going to work in Star Wars? How are having kids going to work in Star Wars when we have a bad track record with them just throughout the 40 years that we've been making Star Wars content and everything. So, Longa, you hate kids. Not
Here we
really
go again.
kids specifically,
Ugh.
but a lot of Star Wars kids, more specifically Omega.
I hate badly written kids.
Yeah, badly
I
written
hate kids
Are these badly
inserted for
written
no
kids?
reason. No, they are not. They are the complete opposite. They are very, very well written kids. They are very well directed kids, and they are kids that have a lot of natural talent when it comes to acting, emoting and speaking. They know what they're doing, and these kids are great. Someone in the chat was mentioning it, and I've seen it on Twitter too. People are all having a problem with Fern, and I know why, because she's the tough girl. And this is when I have to say, maybe it's my age, guys. You guys everyone romanticizes the 80s. If you watched any show in the 80s, the tomboy girl who was tougher and picked on the boys was literally a trope everywhere in the 80s. This is not a woke new thing. This is what happened in the 80s, bro. this is the shit people did.
Yeah,
this is how it was.
I thought I
And-
like her character. I've no,
yeah,
no-
I like
no
it too.
problem
And
with it.
she's and there's a trope there. She's the rich kid, right? Her mother's the leader, or whatever.
wants
it is,
her kid to be
supervisor
the
or-
most pristine student. Yeah.
yeah. And you saw her. She had to run home. You saw her home is like in the the gated community on the hill. It's the big mansions, and stuff like that. When she ran home, and she just wants to race bikes. She don't want to live this life of duty, and be what her mother wants her to be. The one I think that's fleshed out the least, but I think we're going to get more is KB. We don't really get anything about her other than being Fern's sidekick. That's really all we get from her, and she's a techno wizard. Okay, but there's really been no development for her yet. I'm hoping they do more for her because I like her character too. I like the girl that's playing her. Um, I like the you know the Geordie LaForge Star Trek kind of visor thing that she has going on in there, which you know is obviously coming in handy a bunch of times already. I'd like to know more about it because it's kind of you know it's not just a visor; it's implanted into her brain. You can see the side of it to where it's uh, implanted, so it's a permanent fixture. So I'm curious to see that. Love Neil, and I knew I was gonna love Neil. Neil was fucking great. I love man when he looks at Neil and he goes, "Don't you want any excitement?" And Neil just gives him that blank stare, and then he goes, "Like what?" That was just great. It was great. The whole
He's so
little
adorable.
them having their little fake lightsaber fight. Um, Wim having his little data pad and looking at all these stories of Jedi and Sith, and they literally say in the you see it in the subtitles when he's at the very beginning when he's fighting with little toys. It says Sith voice, Jedi voice. So he is playing with these figures and stuff and this that. And a lot of people are talking about how we'll get into this when we get into Ad-Atten, but people are talking about like, oh, they know about the rebellion and Luke Skywalker. I don't think so. I
Yeah, it
don't
seems
think
like
so
this
from
planet is
what's going on
very
here.
desolate and very, very far away from everything.
Yeah. Again, I'm not going to talk about it now. We'll get into it when we get into Ad-Atten, but I think there's something going on, and they're kind of this is which goes into what I was saying. There's a reason why it looks the way it does. It has been pulled from time, kind of, and not literally. I'm not talking literally pulled from time, but they've been behind a barrier, and I think they have literally no idea what has happened in the galaxy since the Clone Wars, or the onset of the Clone Wars, or just before the Clone Wars. That's what I'm thinking. But the kids are great, and I really enjoy them. So I have no problem with them at all.
What about you, Pal Memes?
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't really on edge about him, but like definitely agreeing when it comes to comparison of kids and other Star Wars projects and stuff. It's never really landed, but so far I think it's doing a really good job. And I think we should give praise to the directing and writing of that because, obviously it takes talent and skill still from them, but more so it takes talent and skill from the directors, the adults in the room to actually be able to properly guide them into doing what they need to be doing. I like it. I like the char, I like the charisma. I like the tropes that are going on, the boys versus girls thing that happens in middle school and below and all that. I think that's neat. It's neat to see that in Star Wars. It's just a different feeling seeing like kids in school in Star Wars. It's something I don't recall we've ever seen before, at least in live action. And it's just neat to me. And that's the best way I can kind of describe the show so far. Is it's neat. I don't think it's going to be anything crazy. It's definitely not going to be like Andor and stuff. It's going to have a happy ending and all that. And yeah, I think they're doing a good job so far.
Yeah, I agree with Lunga, but I disagree on I think the characters on some of the aspects. Like I made the argument last week that Lucasfilm doesn't have a strong track record with children as lead characters, and I think none of the kid actors that we've had in the past have resonated with the audience like these four kids have. These kids remind me of, well, I think they remind us, honestly, as an older audience, of what it's like to be kids, and remind me of what I was like when I was a kid. And of course, pretending to be a Jedi and everything like that goes in with that. I hope they resonate with the younger audience as well, and that they can recognize themselves in these characters like we have. Wim, he wants to go on a life-changing adventure. Who didn't want to do that as a kid? He reads stories about the Jedi. He's told by many people he needs to kind of grow up at this point in his life, and that's a big part of the coming of age story that we constantly see. Neil is like the safe, adorable comedic character, but it works. Like Lunga, he's probably my favorite so far because he is like that innocent friend with like a loving heart and family that we all had as kids, and it shows us the difference between his longing for home that is full with people in his house that love him versus like Wim, who really only has his dad who is never home. So you kind of need that contrast in some
Who's
of these
also
shows.
a
And
dick, dude.
yeah.
Who the
dad
hell
is
tells their
clearly
kid, "I don't have time to read you a story," and aren't you getting a little too old for that? It's like, what, bro?
Yeah, but I mean that's that's the problem Wim's got going on. Fern and
Yeah.
KB. This is where I disagree with Lunga. Honestly, I like their introduction. I always appreciate like the cool aspect that they had going on of going through the neighborhoods and all that stuff. Very ominous to American Graffiti and everything like that by George Lucas. I like KB more than I like Fern because I kind of appreciate the tech person in the group who's like she's kind of cool without trying to be cool. I
Yeah.
don't have that with Fern. Fern annoyed me more because as the show goes on, it's not in every scene, but some of the scenes, she is trying to be that badass girl boss or whatever the hell, which is fine. I mean, like Lunga said, that's very typical and everything like that. But I don't think this is really Fern. I don't buy it with her as I do with Mad Max from freaking Stranger Things. So I think that's very intentional, though. And that's what I'm going to give credit to the show with on this character, at least, because it really is my only complaint with any of these characters is that I didn't find this character all that believable. So I think there's something intentional in that. I think there's going to be a character arc for her in the story. And I'm willing to give the creators more faith now that I've seen the first 2 episodes, because like Lunga was talking about, the planet at Aden looks so Earth-like, it's kind of jarring for a lot of fans. It turned a lot of fans off immediately. Now we know that's intentional. There's a reason behind it. It's not like the Acolyte, where it's like, what's this Virgins of the Force? I wonder what we're... you're never getting anything on that. You know, you're actually getting...
Hey, you guys
stuff
remember
here.
Plagueis? Oh, nothing.
Yeah, 3 seconds. You know, it's like... So the fact that it looks like Earth and is like this futuristic high society and everything, very intentional. So I think the fact that Fern isn't working that well with me, and apparently some other people as well, I think it's intentional. I think they actually have a plan for her arc. Like, I do like the fact that she is like the captain of the ship and everything, and just kind of takes that initiative. She's a little smarter, a little quicker on her feet with certain things, and just kind of knows how to read the room better. And you need someone like that in the group that KB, Neil, and Wim could never live up to. So even if she's going to screw up, at least she's doing it in the best way that she knows how. So it's not that I dislike the character. I don't like the execution of her character so far. But overall, I mean...
she is a child version of Marion Ravenwood from Indiana Jones. Okay,
Yeah,
that's what she is. And again, and by the way, I never said I liked Fern better than KB. I said I want to see more from KB. I said they haven't given us much yet. And it's already starting, guys. It's already making the rounds. And I think this is why we haven't seen anything yet from KB, because they're already talking about it. So why is it always episode 3? It's always episode 3 where there's a turn
it's
and people are like,
thing.
and again, this, if the show continues the way it is, this really makes no difference. Okay. Unless you want it to. But I guess one of them's parents are
The 2 moms.
It's 2 moms. Now we know it's not Neil because it's not mom and dad. Wim,
and
so it's most likely KB.
Sorry.
Yeah.
They literally said that, like, you don't even see him. I don't recall the way people worded it in the reviews. They were like, they just mention it. So I'm ready to see certified Star Wars meltdowns. It's just,
you know, like I said,
it's insane.
It's coming.
If they just show us her parents, or she says, "Oh yeah, my mom's," and that's literally it, who cares? That's nothing.
Yeah.
Here's my thing. I'm to the point now where I'm like, even if they just fucking make out, just full on, you know, I don't care. Just give me a good story. All right, just give me a good story. That's all I care about.
Yeah,
No,
I wouldn't want to see any
Well,
parents
it wouldn't really
straight
fit.
making out. It doesn't.
Sure,
Yeah.
but I'd be more okay. Just give me a good story. Whatever, throw it out the window. Don't care.
Yeah, I'm not too concerned about it. With the Acolyte, it felt like such a side tangent and everything like that, where they really focused on the relationship because it wasn't put into like the
And it was part of their
girls being born
strife.
and everything like that.
So
I don't detect that at all with the show. And honestly, I think just off of what we've seen with these first 2 episodes, I think these guys, John Watts and Chris Ford, are kind of going about this show very smart. You guys remember the rumors from a couple years ago that like Lucasfilm was very nervous about this series, and that's one of the reasons it got delayed like a full year. I wonder like what that is now. Like we're only 2 episodes in, so we really got to see what the
They didn't
next 6
reshoot
episodes
anything,
are.
right?
or is their
Not that I recall.
nervousness is it's not shit they do.
That might
Just
be true.
normal
This-
stories.
'cause this is
That's
truthfully,
you know what I mean.
out of
Well, those
all
weren't
the
working
Star
out very
Wars
well,
shows,
so-
this one's very unique. Like the style and everything about this series so far is very unique compared to the other shows. Like Palpatine, I'm surprised you said it looks like it's kind of similar to the Acolyte and everything like that, or just a little bit better. Because to me, this is below Andor for sure, and probably below
and that's why
Mandalorian.
I get it. I wanted to clarify. That's why I clarified earlier. Like, I'm not saying like the Acolyte from like for pretty much the entire thing looked pretty rough. This has a lot of things that do look really decent, but there's still that Disney Plus volume element that sticks out like a sore thumb, and everything looks
Yeah.
just plastic.
I-
That's what
I
I'm
think you
talking
can
about.
detect that. Yeah, if you look for it, I think I
It's not
honestly
even-
didn't see
it
that.
maybe
Well,
I'm- yeah.
I think you have become hypersensitive to it at this point.
It could very well could be that I
I think
almost
you have
look
become
out for it
hypersensitive
subconsciously.
that you see
Yeah.
it and it sticks up immediately for you. Where I get,
Yeah, it very
didn't
well
even
could
notice
be.
it. I have to like
Yeah.
look for it.
Yeah.
It doesn't pop out at
Yeah,
me.
and it's different show from show because like with a lot of the shows with Star Wars live action, you can kind of tell when it's on the volume and then when it's not. This show so far, I've been pretty. Oh, and speaking of like quality things, I watched the very first episode of that Avatar: The Last Airbender live action series. Very obvious that they did it on the volume or like use a lot of CGI. Also, just absolutely awful. I completely side tangent and everything. Remember, there's a lot of praise about that. They're wrong. They're all wrong.
Oh, was that the Netflix
anyways.
one?
Yeah, it's a Netflix one.
Yeah.
I watched
Yeah,
that
that's-
a
you're
couple
late.
hours ago. Yeah, no, I'm
Yeah,
late
of
on
course he
everything.
is.
I'm late on. Yeah, sorry. I'm
No,
just
they're not
now
wrong because I
finishing
liked
The
it.
Golden
So
Girls.
you know what? You're wrong.
Yeah, no, it's okay to be wrong. You guys want to talk about Atten? The
Yeah, let's get into
kind of
it.
oddest name that we've had for a Star Wars planet. At first, when they said it, I thought it was just Atten, and then they kept saying, I was like, so it's Atten, like ATAT Atten. Just names aren't the best in this show, but this planet does, look beautiful and everything. But clearly,
I
there's
like
some evil going on behind here. Lunga, what do you think's going on with this
Yeah.
suburban planet
They're
that has a grand scheme?
Yeah. I mean, for the first clue we got with everything, we saw it when he handed it to him, and then we saw it again later when they got to the pirate planet in the second episode. Is that they're using old Republic credits, okay? Which tells you they're in some kind of state of arrested development. They have this barrier, which is supposed to be this thing that protects the planet from outside. You're not supposed to cross the barrier. They have this very, prequel-like reliance on droids, that they're the security droids. They're the ones that take care of things. And it's very weird. The Great Plan, is that what they called it, right? The Great Work.
I thought it was
Great
the
Work.
Great Work.
The Great Work.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Great Work. That's like, what is the Great Work? What's going on here? What is this? That is fucking weird, bro. And I'm not saying weird in a bad way. It's intriguing, weird. So yeah, I'm seeing a lot of stuff here, and like I said, that immediately told me, okay, the reason why it looks different is there's a legitimate reason why it looks different. And then we learn later that this is Treasure Island, right? For the pirates, this is this mythical treasure island that they've all been looking for. That has this mythical, pile of gold on it. And they're all trying to find and they think it's not real. And and then when you look, you really got to pay attention because there's a lot of technobabble. But when the teachers teach, going through the lesson with them at the very beginning, she was talking about fungibles and finances and how they do things compared to the people outside of the barrier and that and this and that. And that again, that is intriguing to me. It's setting up, okay, so why is this place so different? And I want to know more. I want to know more why this place is so different. And I really liked it. Again, and the fact that, we thought going into this is, Jude Law's, or the kids are trying to find this treasure. They found some map. And it's like, no, their home is the place that everybody wants to get to. And because it's mythical, that's why they're having such a hard time getting home. But apparently it doesn't last that long because we already can tell from the other
Don't you see the symbolism, Lunga? You just said
episodes they get home.
The real treasure is home.
Home.
That's the message of the show,
Yeah.
guys. We
but they
you don't
do
to
have
watch
money.
the rest of the series.
It's like
they're rich.
it's like gold, like Old Republic credit is like gold bullion. You know what I mean? Like when you could tell that Old Republic credit is
Old
worth
Republic credit mint
a lot.
condition is like when the dollar was backed by gold. And you actually have
Yeah.
like freaking gold bars and shit when gold isn't
Yeah.
even made anymore.
Yeah, like something for them that's like $1. One credit's like $1. You know what I mean? For them on that planet, but for everyone else, that's like you find just one of those, you're like doing pretty good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's
Taking
playing into it too.
$1,000 in cash to Guyana.
Exactly. And again, I was telling you in the Discord about it. These are all nitpicky things. It didn't take me out of the story, but they're just some things that like how Palpatine is with the volume. Like when I'm watching him eat breakfast, and we've seen Star Wars be very creative, taking mundane items that are earthly items and kind of changing them to look different, right?
Mhm.
Like the whole bread maker that the guy was carrying, in Empire Strikes Back, and
Or the bread
the
that
woman's
Ray had in
razor.
Force Awakens.
Yeah,
Oh, that one
and the
was really
razor,
cool.
the woman's razor that was Qui-Gon's communicator. You know what I mean?
Yep.
They literally had white Tupperware containers that you find at Target. Like they, and that what made that jarring for me was he's pouring this cereal that looks like Cocoa Puffs, from this container that looks like they bought at Target. Immediately before his father gives him the most impractical lunch money in the world, a bunch of gold bars. Okay.
Giant heavy bars.
And it's like imagine if we were still on coins, right? Imagine if we were carrying silver dollars everywhere for everything. That's what that's like. It's like what? But I get
Everybody
it
would
because
be
that's
jingling.
that's Star Wars. Star Wars. The credits are these pieces of metal. You know what I mean? So it's not like they're doing something different with that. That is, their money in Star Wars credits have always been these hunks of metal. But again, it's like, dude, you couldn't change the color of it, do something, rough it up a little bit, change it a little bit, add something to it, like a little fucking dial or something that checks the freshness of it, just something, to make it like weird. But they don't, so that, but again, those are nitpicks, right? They're not, those are the kind of stuff I see because everything else was so good. So it doesn't really bother me as much. If that's the height of what I'm gonna have to deal with, then I'm gonna be relatively happy by the time we get to the end of the show. But I think they set up something very intriguing with Ad. I really do.
Yeah, me too. What about you, pal memes? What do you think about At?
Unless this has already been confirmed and I just missed it, I think this is going to be a kind of flip of what happened in Ahsoka, which is where they started off in a galaxy that's not the normal Star Wars galaxy, and that's where At is a completely different galaxy, kind of like Peridia was a different one, and they're going to end up in the normal galaxy, and suddenly they learn, oh wow, there is a whole world out there, and I like the idea that it makes sense that this is so culturally, I don't want to say advanced, because I don't know if it's more advanced yet, but so culturally different than what we've normally seen in Star Wars that I'm okay with this looking a lot like home, Earth kind of stuff. I'm okay with that. It doesn't really bother me that there's like Tupperware and, typical cereal and all that, I guess. And again, these are nitpicks these are things that I'm like, oh no, I'm cool with that. Like roads, for instance. Have we, it's interesting. Suburban homes. It makes sense to me.
The street lights were literally just normal street lights.
Yeah, and again, through the trailer, I think we all were unanimously in agreement of like, oh, this feels weird. But that's why sometimes context is really important, because when we actually see it play out, it's like, oh, wow, this actually isn't really a problem. This actually kind of makes sense. It's nice for something to go that way. We can admit like, oh, we were wrong. We just didn't have all the information at the time. And that's always nice. Obviously, I'm pretty sure that they're going to use the kids to try and figure out how to get to this planet in the first place. That seems to be what the storyline is, I would imagine. I don't want to speculate on what the treasure is.
It's literally their economy, bro. I mean, look at they carry around overloaded credits like they're nickels.
Yeah,
the treasure is home. I don't understand what this is so hard to understand.
That's for them, but for the pirates.
Well, that's a metaphor.
The real treasure was the skeleton crew we made along the way.
Jesus Christ.
On
that note, let's comment a couple of super chats here before we continue. Grievous Reborn for $2 at and gives me Vault Tech Experiment vibes. Yeah, I could see that too.
100%,
very Vault Tech Experiment. Katie Miller sent a super sticker for $20. Thank you, Katie. Very generous.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's all. I just want to say that's just kind of recap. That's my biggest thing is I think it's a flip from Ahsoka where it's like, yeah, they start off in the unknown galaxy from our point of view, and now they're in the Star Wars galaxy. That's why I want to say like these stories of Jedi and all that are probably to these people just tales. They're make believe, and I think that would be really, really interesting story arc for the characters to learn. Like,
it didn't sound like make believe. Like I said, they are living in a kind of, I feel like I said, a past time. They're not living in modern times. Like
Right.
Like I don't think they know Order 66 happened. Like he's
I
reading
question. Yeah.
like I'm guaranteeing like for me the stories he's reading are like High Republic stories. You know what I mean? Like that's the kind of stuff he's reading.
Yeah, that's the vibe. It seemed like the stories he was reading was like mythical in a lot of ways, so old that it is mythical, which I feel like would be intentional by Adam. Like this planet, it does look beautiful, but 2 episodes in, we have a lot of these hints of these people are being kept on the planet for a reason. There's a plot and scheme going on. They mentioned like a great barrier that ships are not allowed to enter or leave, so no one seems to leave or enter this planet. That supervisor lady mentions what Lunga was talking about, the great work, and we see these kids are like assigned for their jobs. That's why what Grievous Reborn is saying is true. It does give you that kind of Vault Tech experimental vibe, that there's some
It's
evil
kinda
thing
like-
going on behind the scenes.
And all
Yeah,
these kids are
it's-
so accepting of the fact that their jobs are predetermined by a test. Like this is what you're going to become.
And they're excited
You
for
know?
it. They're
Well,
like,
that's
oh,
what I.
yeah.
yeah, we've been studying for this for our whole
Yeah.
12 years of living.
It seems like to me like the entire planet's like a bureaucracy. Like the whole thing is just
Yeah.
everything.
really like what you
Everybody's
said earlier
everyone's
about
system admins, everyone's
Yes,
analysts,
yeah.
everyone's
Yeah,
accountants.
but
Everything
what Palpatine said
is
earlier
hierarchy.
makes a lot of sense about this being like culturally advanced and everything like that, because what they're doing, it does seem to work. I mean, does this not look like a happy-go-lucky place compared to literally everywhere else in the galaxy? Like, this place is safer than Coruscant, and that's like the biggest city in the entire universe.
No,
So
no,
I
that's
think
just
there's
that's
something
actually
to-
that's Disney pushing their communist manifesto agenda.
Oh,
on
what
Star
if-
Wars.
or-
or
Yeah.
what if we-
Oh yeah.
What if we
It
have an
was-
even bigger, a darker twist? What if this is a holdover from the Empire? That the Empire that placed them there, that Palpatine has something.
I was thinking,
and
honestly,
with the
that
fall,
that this is
they don't know that what happened.
No, I think it's Old Republic.
been
I
long
think
enough?
if anything, if it's a society that's kept along, I think it's an
Yeah.
Old Republic society.
I do
really
feel that.
think
I do feel that.
I feel like there's such an importance to this because it's mythical to the pirates. They talk about how Aden is a myth and it holds a great treasure. So I think the
Yeah.
people in charge of Aden know about this treasure and somehow use it to keep the planet functional. Maybe it is just a big vault of Old Republic coins. And Jude Law's character, Jod Nawood, he also offers to help the kids only after they mention Aden. So he's clearly trying to take them home just to get to the treasure that they all see. But that is the next topic of the Old Republic and the tie-ins with that. I'll start off on this one. We don't really touch on the Old Republic too often in modern Star Wars, and that really pisses me off. So it's nice that we have it as such a big plot point in this show. The coins that they're using are from the Old Republic. They're in mint condition. The dad gives Wim like a stack of them for lunch money. So clearly they have an abundance of it on Aden. I believe the ship that they took as well to this other galaxy, or maybe even our galaxy, is also from the Old Republic. So there's something tying the story to the Old Republic, and I'll bet that the mythical treasure on that Aden is from the Old Republic era. And that in of itself is interesting to me. Pitching that as a story, a lost Old Republic treasure. That sounds fun to explore for not only a Star Wars show or a Star Wars movie, just a good Star Wars story. So I do like the Old Republic tie-ins, and I think it's a great small segue to begin the idea of Lucasfilm maybe considering the possibility of maybe making an Old Republic movie series / trilogy, anything at all. Please, would be amazing, Lucasfilm.
No.
It's been such a hassle even getting to a conversation about it with Lucasfilm that this maybe have been possibly the beginning of a new dawn of a new era from the
I will
old
have to
days of
say-
when has been.
And I truly believe this. I'm sorry, prequel lovers are going to hate me saying this, but
Say,
I believe next to the original trilogy, KOTOR is the most beloved aspect of Star Wars.
with
Yes.
its core fan base, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I would say within the broader. So I think the Old Republic era in of itself not only has more to sink your teeth into than the prequel era does, but it also is more
Even Space Jesus?
widely regarded as
You're okay
good.
with Space Jesus?
It gets a little crazy for me at times. I'm not saying it doesn't have its issues, but Revan at least like trained. Revan just wasn't Jesus. He's just the chosen one.
Revan's my guy. He went through a lot of
anything.
shit. No, he went through a lot of shit. He died a bunch of times.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He went through a lot of shit, and he lost at times and everything like that. Like he never beat Emperor Vitiate or anything like that. He got his ass kicked many times, got locked up. They won't let him out. All that stuff. But the
Jedi just erase his memories.
Exactly. And notice how it took an entire council to do what Chimere did in 2 minutes. That just shows how overpowered the Acolyte was. But anywho, when it comes to KOTOR and this whole Old Republic thing, I think there's such a vested interest in it from the Star Wars audience, unlike that we had with the prequels. Because, the Clone Wars and all that stuff is interesting, but you only have really like a couple Sith to deal with and a bunch of Jedi. The Old Republic is familiar yet unknown territory. Like Mark Hamill said, it's what did he say in that Force Awakens trailer? He's like, nothing's changed. Everything's changed, but nothing's changed. That's how the Old Republic is for us Star Wars fans. That's kind of what we want, which is dumb.
I really think
this
Mark
show
Hamill
hints
has
at that
dementia at this point. I really think he has.
Yeah,
dementia.
he's kind of a lunatic.
Who? Me?
Mark Hamill.
Oh, yeah, no. Mark Hamill is definitely a lunatic. But this was, what, 10 years ago now when he said this?
Literally 10.
It worked. It's been a minute, so I think he has something here. But what do you guys think, Lunga, what do you think about this idea of the Old Republic and the tie-ins that this show has with it so far?
Yeah, I really would like it to be. I think that's cool. But I think, and while there's feels of it that dragged out, the Old Republic is a long time. I mean, if technically the prequel era is the Old Republic. If we want to be honest, as far as the system of government goes, it is the Old Republic. There was no other republic. It's that republic. So prequel era was that the High Republic. It's an era within the Old Republic. So the Old Republic is a broad, sweeping term. But I understand when you're saying Old Republic, you're thinking
like that.
10,000 years ago. Like way back. Like pre-Bane. And shit like that. But I don't think it's going that far, honestly. I think it's more likely just because what we know of the High Republic being the Golden Age and how Jedi were proliferant. They were everywhere, and everyone knew the Jedi, and they were celebrities. I think it's High Republic stuff that they're looking at. I think all the gold, all the droids, all the opulent life they have
era, though.
Is very High Republic. It's a gilded age. And if you look at their suburban life, it's a very gilded age, just like the High Republic. That's how I feel about it. And unless they tell me otherwise, I'm not going to believe any shit you say.
Don't they have a timeline that specifically says the High Republic, though, and then the Old Republic? Like, I feel like it's vastly... If this is going to be Old Republic, it's not going to be from the High Republic.
It is an era. It is an era. But remember, when the Old Republic was around, everything pre-Empire was the Old Republic. That's just a reality.
Not everything.
Government-wise, there was only one republic, bro.
Wars and everything.
There was only one republic.
Well, I mean,
there was only one republic.
It started at a certain point. I mean, they even talk about when the formation in the Phantom Menace, he goes, there hasn't been a war since the start of the Old Republic or something like that. So yes, it is like a phrase.
Didn't Obi-Wan call it the Old Republic?
No,
the original trilogy. I'm pretty sure he did.
Yeah.
What was the line? I know he said over
I don't know. I'd have to look it up again.
Yeah, well, still, I think the High Republic and the Old Republic are distinctly different. At least with the Disney canon Star Wars timeline, they are separated even in their history chronologically. I think what comes with these shows, if they're talking about the Old Republic, it is what we would think of kind of KOTOR.
There we go. Yes, come on. This is the line, bro. The Jedi Knights were guardians of the peace for the Old Republic and the Galactic Republic. That's what it is. Galactic Republic. That's the difference. They called it the Galactic Republic. So the Old Republic is the earlier one. So I will take that line back. The Old Republic is older than the Galactic Republic.
What came first, the chicken or the egg? Palpamemes. What do you think about this Old Republic connection?
I didn't ever give it much thought because according to what we know about Lucasfilm's plans of the next 8-10 years, there's no indication that they're bringing some Old Republic trilogy, which is what you would need to do, honestly, to life. There's no space for it. with how much shit is supposedly in the works. So I'm not putting any bet on it. I'm not putting any weight on it, other than I think maybe they just like the tie-in connection. I think that's more than likely what it is. It's cool. I mean, if you're asking me what I think about it within the context of the show, it's neat. I think it gives me more ideas for like what could possibly happen and all that, and why these pirates want it so much. But in the context of Star Wars as a brand, no, there's nowhere in their slate that indicates Old Republic trilogy will just get thrown in there. And if it is, I'm gonna ask, what in the hell are they doing? Can they just figure something out and actually stick with it? That's kind of where I stand with that.
I think the Old Republic is a big key to the future of Star Wars. I think they need to figure out that this is the
Why and
perfect
where,
era
but like
to-
I think it's a key feature that you yourself want only. But why and where is this even coming from? What indication that like, oh, they're gonna definitely do it? We have been saying they're doing Old Republic for a decade now, and that's what fans have wanted for a decade now.
Yeah.
But there's zero reason for you to believe that, oh, this is the future or this is gonna be the future, because there's nowhere. It's not coming from anywhere. It's what you want, and I respect that because it's what I would like as well. But when it comes to
Well,
what
and
we have,
you
and what
just said there's zero reason to believe it, but like not only you just say you want it, I want it. We're not only big into Star
no,
Wars.
yeah, I want
A
it, but
lot
there's
of
a reason to
fans want
believe
it.
that.
That's a reason to make it. They made Ahsoka for the
No,
Rebels
hold on,
fans.
hold on,
They
let's
certainly
hold
didn't
on,
make it.
hold on. You're misunderstanding me. I'm not saying there's not a reason to make it. There absolutely is.
You just
I'm
said
saying,
that.
No, I'm saying there's no reason to believe Lucasfilm is planning on doing that, which is what you were
Well, I
talking
didn't
about
say
earlier.
that. I didn't say that.
Yeah,
you know,
you were.
I'm saying this could, and it was intentionally a joke too. I said this could maybe be possibly the reason, the beginning of the dawn, like because clearly they're not going to do this stuff. They've been talking about it for a long time.
Okay.
But yes, there is more indication that they would do it now than definitely 10 years ago. 10 years ago, all you
No,
could
I
really
disagree.
theoretically
Actually,
do.
yeah,
No,
I
what
disagree
are you
with
talking
that.
about? 7,
Yeah.
8, and 9, 10 years ago was exactly what you do.
7, 8, and
Old
9 would have
Republic-
ended in 2019. I figured there would have been, there very well should have been an Old Republic trilogy coming forth, whereas now we have a trilogy like in like 5 other movies with 5 different directors and 5 different time frames,
but
right?
This is all
There's-
after. This is all post. This is all in the past 5 years. I'm saying 10 years ago when you buy the company, you focus on.
Well,
7,
so
8,
the
and
first
9.
5 years of Lucasfilm versus the last 5 years of today. That's what we're comparing, right?
Yeah,
You think
yeah,
there's
no, but-
you think there's more? Hold on. Do you think there's more room to do an Old Republic trilogy? I'm assuming is what we're talking about, or just an Old Republic project right now with all the the crap that exists right now with Lucasfilm's slate. You think there's more room for that now than during the time of the sequel trilogy?
When you say room, I assume you're meaning by the amount of production and things that they have in the works. at
That's
the
what I'm
moment and
talking
everything
about.
like
There's
that.
no room in the slate to add another trilogy.
I absolutely
Yeah.
understand that aspect of it, but that's I want to say that's almost irrelevant because my point with the Old Republic is that this is actually a really great subject for Lucasfilm and Star Wars to focus on for the future, because not only is it something that captivates the diehard fans, it's something we've been marinating in for at least
Sure.
20 to 30 years at this point,
Yeah.
and everything like that. So yeah, there's not room in their slate right now, but that just goes to show like their mind
I guess
is in
I
the
may have-
wrong direction right
I
now.
may just have misunderstood you. I took it as you were getting kind of anticipated, like, oh, maybe they're teasing it, like maybe they're
Well,
like, oh, we're
but
gonna
yes,
start.
I am saying that they're more likely to do it today than they were 5 years ago or 10 years ago. The fact that it's not only mentioned, I mean, look what happened with the High Republic. They had to do a whole book series. They mention it like one
Failed.
time in a comic book, like
Yeah.
5 to 8 years
The
ago.
High
before it
Republic
even becomes
seems
a
like
thing.
they were trying to do their own version of the Old Republic.
They
and that-
were. They truly were. And
this is
and
what's
the
funny.
Acolyte
Remember,
was meant to launch it.
no,
into
that's what's
live
hilarious
action.
is this is supposed to be a multimedia project, and they included games. Have we gotten a High Republic game? The most
No,
we've
yeah,
gotten
and
was a
that's- and that's the
character
thing.
in a different game that's from that era and was frozen for 500 years. That's
But
hilarious
let's
to
be
me.
honest though. Let's be honest though. The High Republic was actually a very good approach at the beginning.
Oh no, I was
the
all
idea
for
of
it.
launching it in a book series and everything, taking the High Republic, putting it into a book series that runs for a little good while, then you make it into a live action Star Wars show that apparently was supposed to be 3 seasons in the movie, which God help us if that ever
You can
happened.
take
Whatever
your
reality
time
where
with
that
it
happened.
because there's no urgency for it.
Yeah, Disney, wait until Chatooine and we are all 3 dead before you make the following seasons of 2, 3.
That
and
might be
movies.
sooner for
Yeah.
me though, just so you know.
Apparently,
You're halfway there, Lunga. All right, we're there for the ride, brother. We will put you in a
I got one
bacta
foot.
tank to do.
I got
Chatooine.
one foot in. I got 1 foot in.
You'll be fine. I think you'll be fine because we'll have technology to get like KB, little glasses and everything. But with the High Republic, I do think that they had the right approach to it. But like you're saying, Palpines, you don't see it in a game or anything like that. But with the Knights of the Old Republic, with the Old Republic in general, they said they were doing a Knights of the Old Republic remake. We had a lot of rumors, and not just from random people. I'm talking from like credible
Bro,
sources.
we had a
saying
little
that they were
CG
working on
animation
Old
of Revan swinging his lightsaber. Come on, man. We had
What are you
Patty Jenkins.
That doesn't
Wait,
mean nothing, though. You can't say that doesn't
that's
mean
my
nothing.
point.
Because
That's my
it was
point.
a
The fact that they
remake.
were wanting to do it and didn't do it means they're probably not going to do it. I'm sorry. They're going
That
back
makes
to
no
Rey.
sense. That makes no sense. Hey, you're trying out for this boxing match competition or whatever. Oh, you didn't do it, but it doesn't mean you don't want to do it. It's like, no,
Well, no,
you're
it's one of those
going to
things.
do
It's
it.
more like they
New
tried out
Order
for
does
a
have a
boxing
Revan
match
squadron.
and then lasted 10 seconds in the tryout round or something, got their ass kicked. Yeah, they're probably like, yeah, I need to get, I can't do this. Yeah, they're not going to do it. Come on.
Yeah, but then
They-
you're saying that they're not going to do it. They tried to do it. Lucasfilm is trying to do stuff. With
Tried is a very bold word. They hired a different company to do something. The company did everything. It still fell through. Lucasfilm really didn't try much with that, and it still failed.
Well, if I'm correct, Lucasfilm Games is the things that are dealing with the Star Wars stuff. And it's not
Yeah,
like
they're doing a great
company
job
that
on
actually
it.
makes
I
the
mean,
games.
they've
They
only,
collaborate.
you know,
so the company
they've only
that
been
they
trying.
outsourced
They've
this
only
to-
been trying for 6 years to release a movie. You know,
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly
I
my point.
understand
And
that.
now we have, 7 films that are supposedly still in the works?
we've always had that many.
Yes, yes.
That's
Yes.
insane. That's
They've
insane.
always been in the works. And Knights of the Republic is still apparently being remade. But that's my point, is that you cannot say they're not attempting to do anything with the Old Republic when they are clearly trying to give us a video game and also mentioning it in this new show. Like, that's a big deal. That is
No,
the
it's
games-
not. I'm sorry. I'm pushing back on that. No, it's not. Having a little reference that this could, again, the show may go on and it actually becomes a big deal, but right now, no, it's not a big deal at all. It's a reference. It is not a big deal at all.
Tell me what else has had more High Republic references and nods than this
High Republic?
project?
You mean Old Republic?
I mean, Old Republic. Old Republic.
It's like giving a poor kid a grain of rice and be like, well, there you go. Now you're not hungry anymore. It's like, no, I gave him a
what are
grain of
you-
rice. He's starving.
What are you saying? You're like pointing out like there's these bold and blatant nods. There weren't. They were vague nods that could be any era a long time ago. It's
It could
not.
have been the writer being like, I like Old Republic. Can I just make this from the Old Republic? And Lucas will be like, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
I mean,
Grievous
come
has
on.
been talking about it. I guess there was an article. I'm not going to find it, but he said that the showrunners confirmed the Old Republic they're talking about is not the Knights of the Old Republic.
So why would... I ain't going to say nothing. Because
Still
that
Old
just
Republic.
frustrates me. That just frustrates me. If that's true, that just frustrates me. Because why the fuck would you even bring it in the first place?
And he said they weren't bringing it in, and they brought it in. All I'm
And
saying
then
is
they
the
took it
Old
away.
Republic
Well, it's
is
not
the
Old
future.
Republic.
We know
I mean,
this.
guys, it's
past
history.
is the
so
future.
why wouldn't they?
Stop.
It's history.
The future's Ray, okay? I'm sorry.
You tell me what do you think is going to make more fucking money?
I
Rey
don't care. Wait,
trilogy.
hey, oh, stop. No. We are not about to defend these arguments by what would make more money. What would make more money is a complete rehaul of Lucasfilm and completely changing the studio to something that it's not right now. That's what you make money from, not just fucking saying, we're gonna make an Old Republic trilogy, okay? What happened to this whole High Republic fucking trilogy of movies and the games and Star Wars Eclipse? Yeah, that was gonna make money, but
Not
they didn't
enough
do it.
bigots tuned
Where-
in.
Yeah, because they sucked. I mean, I tried reading them. They were trash, okay? This idea, if your defense is it would make money, well, clearly Lucasfilm doesn't really care about that because they haven't really made any money in the past 6 years. 5 years.
$1 billion in Star Wars merch just last year. You could thank that to Grogu and Mando and
Well, when Kermit the Frog
Kenobi.
dies as a trend, then yeah, we'll see how much money they make.
Hey, don't you come at my boy Kermit the Frog, all right? First of all, I love him. Second of all, I do firmly believe if Lucasfilm wants to start something new and actually have a promising future, you need to
Yes.
go to the Old Republic.
Here we go.
Star Wars only.
Hold on.
I agree with
Stop.
you.
Stop with this bullshit argument. It has nothing to do with Skeleton Crew. It has nothing to do with Skeleton Crew.
True.
But John Watts said, and this is exactly what I said that started this whole discussion. Okay? John Watts settled the issue with a recent statement on the matter given to Inverse. most of the time when we're saying Old Republic, we're using it in the same way that Obi-Wan uses it in A New Hope when he talks about the Old Republic.
Star Wars
That
always
was
on
just
Suicide
meant
Watch.
he was familiar with that part of the Republic, and the Republic continues back thousands and thousands and thousands of years. Thank
Star
you,
Wars
Richard
only
Gordon, by the way, for
was
linking.
on
Oh, great.
Suicide
So
Watch.
it just means anything. Anything
That's what I'm
means anything
saying.
and everything.
That's what I'm
means
saying.
anything.
It's the writer just wanted to do something, and Lucas was like, okay.
Well, that's fucking
I mean,
dumb.
but then
is what
again,
that is.
Yeah, I know.
No, it's not. Hold on. He did. Obi-Wan did call it the Old Republic, and someone said Tarkin. Oh, the last remnants of the Old Republic have been swept away. They've called it in the original trilogy, motherfucker. Okay, Mister, I'm an OT purist. The original trilogy,
Yes.
they called anything before
He just
the
didn't
original
remember.
trilogy.
He just didn't remember.
The Old
Give him a
Republic.
break.
When he's
you don't
saying
remember.
remnants
You
of
don't
the Old
remember.
Republic, he's not saying
You
the
don't remember.
Republic from 19 years ago.
You don't
He's
no,
saying
no,
that
no,
the-
no,
he's
no.
saying-
Everything was the
he's
Old
saying
Republic.
the core
No, you're retconning.
political
Remember?
structure.
Yeah, remember Alex? Oh, I remember. Remember Chewbacca?
Remember the Old Republic?
I remember, and clearly everyone remembers because the Old Republic is just all time now, all of time. Anything
It's
before
just everything
This
before
revisionist
the prequels.
fucking history, man. This revisionist history. Listen, the EU and the games expanded that lore. When Lucas created the original trilogy, the Old Republic was anything before when Obi-Wan was young and before. Okay? That's how Lucas thought of it. I'm sorry. It's grown since then. It's evolved, and there's been a lot more stuff added to it and different eras plucked in between. Yes. But I mean, it didn't phase me for that reason. Because I remember Obi-Wan calling it the Old Republic. I remember it's like originally that was anything before the Dark Days was the Old Republic. Before the Empire.
I'm moving on.
all
I'm
the old
moving
time,
on.
literally all old time. All right, well, whatever. I'm not gonna beat this dead horse because
You're
clearly
never getting an Old
Yeah,
Republic
because
trilogy.
you're
Just accept
done.
it.
You've lost.
No, I mean, hey,
He
you
was
ca-
so
you
hyped
guys
about
can
that,
live
too.
in this reality where Rey is now the future.
Well, yeah.
when you
That's the
have a
reality you live
possibility
in.
of-
That's
of-
what.
of a
That's how it
saga.
is.
The Old Republic would completely carry this franchise into a completely new generation of things. But nah, that's all good. It's all
We
good.
don't disagree. You think we're defending Lucasfilm's choices? I think an Old Republic setup would be fantastic. I'm just saying they're not doing it. Clearly, they would have announced it with the 50 other projects they've announced.
First of all, they would never announce it because they're
Dude,
not gonna,
we're getting a Mandalorian and freaking Grogu movie. Okay, you're never getting Old Republic. Okay,
Don't say never. All right, it's
it's
gonna
never
happen.
No, it's
It's
not.
gonna happen.
If it happens, it's gonna be trash.
Okay, what would you bet
Before
more money
the
on?
dark
Ryan
times,
Johnson's trilogy
before
or the Old
Grogu.
Republic?
I
Yeah,
would
how
bet
about
Old
that?
Republic has a higher chance. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
okay, wow, all right.
Yeah.
So the thing
Yeah.
that was announced is less likely to happen than the thing
Hey,
that has never been
hey.
announced.
Hey,
It's like
fuckers.
comparing stage
I'm
4
old,
cancers. It's like
I'm
which one's
sick,
gonna be quicker?
Hey! Motherfuckers are going to talk over me like I'm not talking. I'm old. I'm
You do
sick.
the same to
I'm
us.
tired. I'm allowed. I'm old. I'm old. I'm sick. I'm
Oh,
tired.
okay, old man.
Let's move it along. Let's not sidetrack on this whole Old Republic games and shit. It has nothing to do with Skeleton Crew. We have digressed so far from Skeleton Crew.
What do you
Get
want to
back
talk
on
about
track,
longer?
guys.
You want to give your rating for?
I
for the
mean, I don't
series?
know. I don't know. Let's go with your fucking topics.
All right,
This is the next one
Episode
after the Old Republic.
We'll take it away.
Oh, wrong
Then.
button.
Give me your
Episode 1.
rating so you can get your sleep.
I'm getting a chill up my back right now. I'm so tired, so sick. It's like it's weird. I hate giving ratings. Like we do this every time. I hate giving ratings for a show, and especially this kind of show because it's just fun, right? For me, it's literally a thumbs up or thumbs down. It's like giving the breakdown of ratings. A 5.623. Like with their base of 5. What was the answer that he got? Almost got it. It's hard to do it. It was good. If I have to pop a number on it, introducing us to this Skeleton Crew and this story with these kids, I'd give it a 7.5.
Okay, I appreciate that longer because that's what we do here on Chatooine. We give the ratings. None of us want to do it. I don't make the rules. I just think them up and enforce them. Palpamims, what would you give a rating?
We're doing it just for the first episode, not both of them.
Now you can give both at the same time.
I wanna give- I wanna-
Both.
Yeah. Okay,
Go
for the
ahead,
first.
give me your first one.
Okay, well, I'll just say they're both the same. I give both the episodes a 7. I think the show has a pretty good start. I'm intrigued. I don't think it's anything crazy. I'm not like super hyper excited. We're definitely seeing Luke Skywalker at the end. I will place a bet on that, and I'm gonna laugh
Oh
my
my
fucking
God.
ass
No,
off.
you do not.
I'm gonna
You do
laugh
not
my
He's gonna
believe
fucking
come-
ass off.
He's gonna come
Yes.
remove the barrier for them. He's gonna free them.
I
From
will
the barrier.
bet. I will bet a super
I cannot
chat. All
believe you
right.
believe that.
I fucking believe it. I truly
Or,
believe
or even better, let's see Grogu interact with Neil. That's what we need
it.
right
You
now.
know, he might be with Luke because it's before stupid Book of Bob happened.
I think Plagueis will come back again.
I'd rather see that.
He's like Pennywise. He's in the sewers of
He's in
Manhattan.
the sewer.
Come on,
Hey,
Wim. Come
Nelly.
down, Wim.
But yeah, sevens for me for both of them.
I think both of your ratings are fair. I'm actually agreeing completely with Lunga on like episode 1. I give it a 7.5. And I would agree with you, Palpatimes. I give episode 2 a 7. Like it's like I said at the
Solid.
beginning, there's yeah, it's solid. I have no complaints, but it's not something that is like Andor Mandalorian, or as we call it now, Mandor, where it just blows you away and you're like, oh, this is gorgeous. You know, so Lunga, give us your rating for episode 2 and we'll get into
Yeah,
the
it's right
count.
around 9. I'll just give it a blanket across 7.5 for both of them. I like the you know it's like Ego from Guardians of the Galaxy, right? It's like where all these people went that all the pirates, the space pirates and Ravagers went in the Marvel universe. I like that spaceport. Bago, what was it called? Bago.
Port Borgo.
Borgo. Yeah. I like Borgo, and I like the eclectic group there. I liked how they threw an adult content in there and didn't say it. Like when that girl was standing in front of that establishment and the kids were looking to go in, and Fern is like, "Yeah, no, we're not going in there," because it was obviously a whorehouse.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what it was. And that girl was like, "You guys shouldn't be here. You guys need to get out." You know, because she knew, and she was a madam. You know, and they didn't say that outright, but that's the kind of stuff. That's good. That's good writing. That's how you tell something without saying it. You know what I mean? You give it to us with emotes and scenery, and what's happening in the scene that fleshes it out without the words being said. So that's why again 7.2 is the same for me as 1. Matter of fact, it was actually a little bit better. Even though I'll give him the same rating just because it was a little bit more action, a little more stuff. Wim's, you know, how fascinated he was. Where, you know, Neil just says, "I just want to get the fuck home," and Wim is like, "Dude, we got a ship, dude. We're flying around the galaxy. What the hell? Why do you want to go home?" You know. And I noticed Fern is it just me, or did she seem to be more scared in the second episode? She seemed to be more frightful.
Oh yeah,
than she
no,
was.
that cool aspect. That's why I said it was all intentional. Is she is out of her element in that second episode, and it's only going to get worse. I think. I think she's going to get really tested, and she's going to have a moment where she's like, where she breaks completely, and
Little
maybe
fun
like
fact.
cowards out of something.
If you look at SM-33, that actually kind of spells out Smee, Captain Hook's bosun.
Oh, I remember. Yeah. I actually like SM-33. I thought he was pretty cool for a droid. Pardon me. The voice actor, I
He's
don't know
like
who it is, but
KS.
he's amazing.
He's like KSO if he like lost his shit. That's what it reminds me of.
Yeah, and actually like kills people and everything like that. Like he was pretty brutal to a lot of those pirates. Like it was pretty cool. I don't think he's dead though. I hope he comes back, and I hope he stays a big part of the show going forward. It's cool
The
to
guy
have
who
a
did
droid
his
like
voice,
that.
I believe, is the guy who always does stuff with Simon Pegg, the bigger guy who was in Shaun of the Dead.
I know who
Remember
you're talking about. I
Shaun
don't
of the
know the name of him, but I know exactly who you're talking about.
He's a British guy,
You
too.
brought that up the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah, he sounds exactly like him. Well, all right. I think we all think this is a solid show so far. So next week we'll do it again. You got
Nick
the
Frost,
calendar
thank you,
for us,
Rohit.
Lunga?
Nick Frost, yeah, that's his name. Yeah, we can pop up the calendar.
So next week, what's it? December 11th, we got episode 3. December 18th, episode 4, and then we go on break. No show. December 25th, that's Christmas. January 1st, it's New Year's. You know, take the holidays off, guys. You'll remember us when we come back. You know, after the 2-week break, we'll close out with some Skeleton Crew action, and then do the last. I think we'll be missing episodes 5 and 6. So we'll come back and do 5, 6, and 7 in one episode.
Yeah.
But 2 weeks straight of a little Skeleton Crew. I feel like this is a nice little holiday time. You get a Star Wars show, you get some holidays. and
Oh,
you go back.
we
to
didn't
Star
even
Wars.
mention seeing Jod at the end and him doing his little Jedi mind trick, and he played the.
I felt like it wasn't
the
that
Twin Sons
noteworthy.
theme song.
Yeah,
Um,
I never felt like his character so far was noteworthy because he just shows up at the end, and when they're in the cell, I felt like
yeah, but he shows us
knew he was
he's
gonna be
force
there.
sensitive,
Yeah,
and
we knew that.
but I think it's I gotta tell you, I think it's a trick.
No, I think
'Cause
he's
why-
force sensitive.
'cause
I just
why
don't think
could-
he's a Jedi or a
Yeah, but he
Sith
could have left there any time. Why would he wait until these kids are in there? I guess maybe because they have a ship, so they have a way out.
because he's not a
That's
Jedi
why-
or a Sith. I think he can use the force. And
Just
it's
a
like,
force sensitive.
perfect time. Yeah.
Yeah, why didn't he use it against his crew when he was Silvo? Why didn't he like enforce him instead of losing? and
Maybe he's
getting
not that
thrown in prison?
strong. You know, like
Maybe. He can move keys.
yeah, you can move keys, but you can't move people. You gotta get to Yoda's level of moving up the freaking X-wing out of Dagobah.
Yeah.
Don't hate it, Lunga. It's coming.
Mm.
KB's gonna lift it for you. She's gonna lift up the whole X-wing.
But what I need is a
And then
bed
Luke's
right
gonna
now.
show up.
That's what I need.
All right, well, let's get the fuck out of here. Shout out to all the channel members. Thanks for tuning into this week's episode of Chatooine. We'll be back Wednesday night when Skeleton Crew gives us the third episode. Hopefully a little longer than the past two. So we'll see you all next time here on the Chatooine Show. May the Force be with you. Always.